Emily's big mistake. Emily is an emerald engine who is proud of her paintwork and her shining whistle and her tall funnel and her big wheels. Emily is a mixed traffic engine, which means she can pull both trucks and coaches. She often works on the main line with Gordon, Henry and James. Sometimes Emily has so much jobs to do that it makes her very late. One evening, Emily had just dropped off her goods train at the docks. It was getting very late and the yard manager was very annoyed. "You're late again, Emily," he said crossly. Now I will have to speak to the fat controller." Emily was most upset. She even started worrying by the time she got back to the sheds. As soon as the turntable turned towards her berth, Emily backed into the sheds. Before she could go to sleep, Emily could overhear the fat controller talking to Emily's driver. "Emily has been late this week," he said. "Tomorrow she will go to the scrapyards." Emily was most upset. "The fat controller wants to scrap me," she said. And so for the rest of the night, Emily went to sleep, feeling most uncomfortable of the thought. Morning came and the sun was shining, but Emily was too unhappy to see that. "The fat controller wants to scrap me," she told Edward. "I heard him telling my driver last night." "The fat controller would never scrap a really useful engine like you, Emily," said Edward. "You're more too important." That made Emily feel better when she looked at the time. "I'm going to be late," she cried, and so Emily steamed out of her shed as fast as her wheels could carry her, so that the fat controller won't really send her to the scrapyard. Emily's first job for the day was to take a goods train to Alsborough Harbour. A crane was loading some pipes on a flatbed truck. "Hurry up," grumbled Emily. The more you go slower, the less time I'll have to be a really useful engine," she complained. But the job was still taking a long time. After Emily's pipes were loaded onto her flatbed truck, she steamed out of the docks as she forgot to check that the pipes were secure. Before Emily thought she delivered her goods train, the flatbed truck went tipping both ways that they tipped onto the tracks and they were left behind. Moments after taking a goods train to Alsborough Harbour, Emily's next job was to take a tar tanker to mend the road. "Be careful," Emily's driver cautioned. "Tar can be very sticky." But Emily took no notice. As she was in so much of a hurry, Emily decided to go faster. Soon they approached the hill, and Emily had reached the top. Then she decided to go faster. Then Emily went so fast that she went racing down the hill at a tremendous speed. She went through the bridge and was almost racing down. Then there was trouble. Henry was at the station taking on passengers. The brake van went past by Henry, but not Emily and the tar tanker. The tar tanker was in pieces and tar laid everywhere, all over Henry. "You silly engine," shouted Henry. "Now what will the Fat Controller say?" Emily looked worried. "I'm sure he'll scrap me after what I've done," she moaned, and she puffed sadly away to run away. Soon, the Fat Controller arrived on board Edward. "Where is Emily?" he asked Henry. "She has been causing confusion and delay." "She crashed a minute ago, sir," said Henry, and she left. "Emily thought you said you was going to scrap her, sir," said Edward quietly. The Fat Controller thought, "I think I should have to have a word with Emily. We'll have to go and search for her." The other engines began searching for Emily high and low. Even Edward and the Fat Controller went searching for Emily on Edward's branch line. Edward thought for a moment. Then he had an idea. "I think I know where Emily's hiding at," he said to the Fat Controller. And so instead, Edward and the Fat Controller decided to find Emily at Knapford Sheds. At Knapford Sheds, Emily was all alone and uncomfortable. She was beginning to worry about what was to become of her. "Oh dear," she thought sadly. "Maybe it was my fault that Henry's covered in tar. What will the Fat Controller do with me after he finds out? He's going to scrap me, isn't he?" But to Emily's surprise, Edward found her at Knapford Sheds, and so did the Fat Controller after he climbed out of Edward. "Emily," said the Fat Controller, "explain yourself." "Don't scrap me, sir," cried Emily. "I know I've been a lot of trouble today, but please don't scrap me." The Fat Controller laughed. "Scrap you?" said the Fat Controller. "Why would I want to scrap a really useful engine like you?" he said. "You're too important on my railway." Then he told Emily what he really said. "I've told your driver that you can work at the scrapyard taking some scrap to the smelter's yard, so that you'll pull passengers for a whole week." "Really?" said Emily. "Thank you, sir." Emily was so happy that she couldn't stop blowing her whistle. Neither could Edward, who was most happy that his friend was back on service again. Until after that, Emily started pulling passengers for a whole week. And from now on, Emily was always on time and is never late again. And Emily also promises herself never to believe in silly stories again, even though some were made up by herself.